name is Przemek Chojecki and this episode is about working remotely. So, if you're in one of the regions affected by coronavirus, which is right now almost everywhere around the world, then probably you're staying at home, you're preparing to work remotely. And I wanted to share a couple of tips when it comes to remote working because this is what I mostly do. I collaborate with people around the world, and there are a couple of tactics which might make this work effective. So, first of all, starting with a general framework for keeping your documents. I mostly use Google Docs, Google Spreadsheet to keep track of all the projects I have. You might have already a CRM in place, or you're also using kind of like Google Spreadsheets, Google Docs to keep track of everything, emails included. Then the crucial tool is actually to communicate with people. So there are a couple of ways. Of course, emails, those who are probably using already, phone calls, those are great. And there are a couple of tools to help you with meeting online. My favorite is definitely Zoom. Google just Zoom. And then the second one is Hangouts, also very helpful, coming from Google. So Zoom and Hangouts are probably the best when it comes to smaller meetings. Then when it comes to larger gatherings, you also can organize that through Zoom. And that is pretty effective. Say up to like 10, 20 people maybe, that can still work. So that's one thing. Another thing is using tools for chatting. So Slack, Rocket Chat are examples of those kind of tools where you can communicate easily all the time, have all the documents attached at the same time in one place, one repository. So you can also connect that to your Google Drive or any kind of a cloud you might have most of the time. So it's important to keep everything segregated so that you know where things are coming, where you keep different documents and all that. So basically remote work is about being organized yourself because you don't have this framework of your own organization, so you have to organize time for yourself, and it comes mostly to being efficient with your time, having everything on your desktop which you need for your work, planning each day, and then of course video calls, phone calls. Those are the perfect way to communicate with your team. So this is what I wanted to talk you about. Then if you're thinking about doing remote work, this is like a little bit different subject. If you're thinking about doing remote work for others and you're thinking how to reach clients because so far you've been meeting them live, basically it's still the same. You can still outreach to people on LinkedIn, do your gig on Fiverr, and it still works pretty much the same. You can still email and then have a phone call, have a video chat. It's still going to be work the same, especially if your kind of work is related to new technologies. You can do that digitally, then actually you won't be affected. That's a good news. No matter where you are, you can always work remotely. The only thing that is going away is the human touch, contact with people. That's a little bit sad, but still a lot of work can be done without that, just doing it remotely and collaborating with people online. There are many great tools. So yeah, this video was supposed to be short. I want to share a couple of tips that I'm using. I'm also using a couple of productivity tools like Evernote or Google Keep to keep my notes organized. Then I'm also of course using GitHub or Google Colab to have my code on the cloud. And then of course I'm using a couple of clouds to run the code on virtual machines. So that's for the coding part. But when it comes to remote working with your team, this is the tools that I use most of the time. So Slack, Google Docs, Google Spreadsheets, LinkedIn social media for outreach, Zoom for conferences or Hangouts. That's it. That's the perfect package for me. And it works pretty well. I can be very effective using those tools. So yeah, stay safe, wash your hands, and see you in the next episode.